So this week, Aries, from Le Vampire, you pulled discipline, training, consistency, and practice. And I know I've seen this card quite a few times for Aries. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled quest. Now, discipline, the blessing, says that you have the ability to create a program of change and stick to it. And after a period of time, it will transform from painful to pleasurable. The freedom and strength it affords you far outweighs the pain you experience in the short term. And then working with this card says that it is time to lay down a plan and create structure and stick to your commitments and clear away any doubt that you may have. Now, when you look at quest, I think for some of you, you're having some difficulties with commitment. Commitment seems to be an issue. Quest from Chakra Wisdom. The very first quote for this card says, "When I am somewhere else, my life will have meaning." The inspiration says that you may be on a quest that is unnecessary. Allow yourself the space for self-discovery. The personal question says, is it time to take a risk? Where in my life do I need to walk my talk? The key ideas are being open to wisdom, imagine dangers, commitment to your path. That is the big thing. Commitment seems to be an issue for Aries. Seeing discipline is telling you that you can create change in your life, but you have to stick to your commitments. And then quest is saying that for some of you, you feel like your life is not happening right now, but it is. It is. And you are on the path that you are meant to be on. It's just for some of you, for some reason, you may feel like things are not happening for you right now. All right, Aries, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. Yeah. The Five of Cups is, emotional suffering, emotional pain, regret, feelings of loss. And the other thing too with the Five of Cups is there's this feeling of receiving less than what you expected. But the big thing here is, some possible depression, a lack of focus on, how to continue. We'll see where this Five of Cups is playing out. But again, the big message here has always been that the focus needs to come away from what is lost and what you still have and building on what still remains. But, again, when you're looking at that kind of emotional pain, it can be hard to do. And in the past, the King of Cups, wow, Aries. So for some of you, seeing the King of Cups, I do think that is another person. I think, when you're looking at it internally, definitely the King of Cups with the Five of Cups is saying that emotionally there is no wisdom here. You're out of whack. But I think that the emotional issues may be surrounding another person, and it could be a water sign. And looking at the King of Cups with the Five of Cups, this could definitely be somebody who's having some emotional issues as well. And I wonder how much of it is affecting you, especially with the 5 being your signifier here. Oh, in the present, Aries, look at the water that's surrounding you right now. And for some of you, it might be putting out your fire. Jeez. The Eight of Cups in present conditions is saying that there is a need here for you to walk away from what is emotionally dragging you down. Clearly. The Eight of Cups, there's a little bit of a difficulty there because it's like when you put so much into something and you realize that it is no longer fulfilling you, it can be extremely hard to just walk away from it, The Eight of Cups, the key word for this card is abandonment, right? But I think for some of you, it's difficult. Clearly, it's difficult to do. But it's like you're either doing it or you're clinging right now. And for some of you, it could be a person that may be clinging on to you emotionally as well. Future conditions. Now, for some of you, this may be a situation where, and the only reason why I feel this way, before I say anything here, is because of discipline and quest. Commitment. Commitment seems to be an issue. For some of you, if somebody has made you feel bad, I think you're moving away from them. And for some of you, you may be moving into a new situation with another person. But in terms of you, the Queen of Wands and future conditions is fantastic. But, you know, I worry about some of you who are going from like one situation with a person to another, you know, whatever the relationship is here between these people, because I get the feeling from the Queen of Wands that it could be another person. Now, as far as the energy that is surrounding you, I think some of you may have, you know, you inherently have that enthusiastic view on life, but I worry about how well you're managing what is going on here. And that to me is the immediate question. And again, you know, looking at discipline and quest, that's where the feeling kind of lies looking at this. You know, and for those of you who are moving into, you know, one relationship and going to the next, you know, I would be careful because, I mean, I'm looking at you here and then I'm seeing these two, right? And you're moving into a new situation here. Your best path to follow, the Four of Wands. When you see this as the best path to follow, especially when you're looking at the Five of Cups, for a lot of you, this is needing to create a stable foundation for yourself. The Four of Wands is a beautiful card. This is celebration. But the big thing here is being able to celebrate the fact that you have put in the work here and have started something and you're seeing the results. You're kind of taking that break to celebrate how far you've come. You realize that there's still more to do. But I think for a lot of you, I think Spirit is trying to say that when it comes to the emotional difficulties that you're facing, especially if you're moving into different situations here, whether this is internal or another person, you need to start creating a more stable foundation for yourself so that you can go into that feeling of being happy with where you are at. Because I think where you're at right now is extreme emotional difficulty. In your environment, the Seven of Swords, all right. I'm looking how, you know, this King of Cups is connecting here with the Seven of Swords being in your environment, and then looking at the Eight of Cups too and the Seven of Swords. It's not good. That's not good. I do think some of you may be in situations where somebody may be emotionally clinging on to you. And I think that, you know, if you are in a relationship with this person, I don't think that, you know, being sneaky is the right thing to do, because, you know, looking at the Seven of Swords, this could be you or the other person, right? But this is you. This is you, right? That's kind of how I'm seeing it here, especially with the difficulties you're having with commitment. I'm just saying that for some Aries, you need to be careful about moving into new situations without having first created a stable foundation for yourself where you're not dealing with these kinds of, you know, emotional issues, right? Because you don't want to be dragging that into a new situation here. And again, another person or internal, right? You want to be able to manage what is happening in your life. But these are suggesting that you can't, because emotionally, for some of you, you may be way out of whack. But it could be because you've suffered a loss, though, as well. You know, I would just be careful, because this is either the action that you feel like you need to take, or this is something that's external to you connected with this person who, you know, could possibly be emotionally clinging on to you. But yeah, seeing that in your environment, it's sketchy. It's sketchy. Your hopes and your fears, yeah. Aries. Now, looking at the Page of Cups, as far as, you know, the positive goes, when you're looking at what you're facing right now, I do think that the Page of Cups is saying that for some of you, you're looking to have better emotional experiences, new emotional experiences, right? But when you're looking at the Page of Cups too, this is the messenger of love. And again, I still have a feeling that for some of you, you may be dealing with two different people, you know, and it may be water, it may be fire. But regardless here with this Queen of Wands, whether this is a person or internal, there needs to be some work done for you to have a stable foundation where, you know, you don't feel like you need to sneak around, or you're not dealing with people who are being sneaky when it comes to, you know, emotions. because that's the big thing going with Aries right now. You have a lot of water surrounding you right now. And I do think that it's putting out the fire, and that's not good. Ooh, I'm telling you, the Two of Pentacles as the outcome can suggest that some of you are juggling two relationships, because I'm telling you, the feeling surrounding that Queen of Wands to me is saying that for some of you, this is another person, and this may be somebody that you may be a little bit more attracted to, because I think emotionally you're being drowned out by somebody that may have some emotional issues, you know, but you need to be careful here. I do think that for a lot of you, if you're moving into a new situation with another person, you don't want to end up in this position where you're juggling things. If you're going to move into a situation that has a little bit more excitement and a little bit more passion for you, I think there needs to be clear communication with the other person here, because emotionally things are not well on either side at all. And I do think that Spirit is trying to tell you that you need to create that stable foundation for yourself before you choose to take any action here. Man, Aries, I really do think that a lot of you are having problems with commitment. Now, and I'm not saying that, you know, not by any means am I saying that Aries is wrong for doing the things that they're doing. Not at all, right? Shit happens and you do what you got to do. But if you're dealing with commitment issues, you need to be careful about thinking that taking another path is going to create, you know, this new happy emotional experience here with the Page of Cups, because where you come out at is, you know, juggling this shit. And you don't want to do that. And I don't like that Seven of Swords in your environment. I don't think that any of you should have to act that way, especially if somebody has drained you emotionally. I think you need to be truthful with them about it and truthful about how you feel, and not hide that before you start moving into this new situation here, because I do think it's new. You don't want to be juggling two relationships. And again, you know, this is not going to resonate with everybody. But I just feel like there's a need here for whatever Aries I'm connecting with. Your life is happening right now. If you think that going a different path is what's going to create, you know, some new excitement and some new emotional experiences for you, you need to take care of other issues first. But I do think that Spirit is trying to say here that it's more important for you to start building your own stable foundation first. Because, you know, otherwise you're just going to be in that balancing act where you're just kind of going in between, right? All right, Aries, we're going to take a look at the soul trees. I'm telling you, you need to communicate to see what other messages there are for you guys, because I do think that with the Seven of Swords, somebody is not being open and they're not being truthful and they're being sneaky. All right, magic. When you're looking at, you know, and just looking at these, I do think that, you know, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. If you're in situations that are emotionally dragging you down, it would make sense that you're moving into something with a little bit more excitement, right? But I think that for a lot of you, you know, when you're looking at expansion and things that are expanding in your life, it definitely has to do with people. But magic and the third eye, this is where you start visualizing, right? And opening up the third eye and looking at the long term on what you want to manifest in your life. The big thing with visualization is don't worry about how you're going to get there, how it's going to happen. Look at the end result. You don't want to be caught up with, you know, the how, the when, the why, the where, all that crap. You want to look at what ultimately you want to see in the end. And everything else will start to unfold for you. And magic, right? Magic happening in your life. And I think for some of you, this may be a welcome energy. And again, you know, whatever the relationship is here between these two people, this doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. You know, this could be a family member, somebody you're working with, or it could be a relationship, a romantic relationship. Whatever that King of Cups is, There are some negative emotions surrounding you, and I think it's drowning you out. And there's a need here for you to start really thinking and visualizing about what you want your emotional experiences to look like, because what you're facing right now is just blah. It's blah. And then, you know, when it comes to the third eye, you don't want to let illusions cloud your judgment either. I mean, you know, as far as what you're visualizing, you don't want to be caught up in illusions. You know, there's that warning there, right? But I think a lot of you are opening up to some new magic happening in your life, and it could be with new people. All right, Aries, we're going to take a look at whispers of love to see what is going on with you guys. You know, I don't think I've ever seen the third eye pulled in all this time that I've been using soul trees. But, you know, you guys aren't the only ones to be pulling really amazing cards out of this deck. I've seen the crown chakra twice already. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that this is coming up now. I just think that a lot of you guys, you know, and I'm looking at this purple and this like aqua blue kind of purplish color happening around you right now. I think your intuition and your psychic abilities are going to be really important, you know, especially with the third eye. Sorry about that, Aries. I have a really bad habit of not looking at my battery. Now, back to Whispers of Love. The first card you pulled, and you pulled 3 here. The first one says, spend some quality time together. It is imperative that we spend quality time with those we are in significant relationships with, listening and talking to each other. And I think that this is going along for some of you who may be in a relationship but seeing yourself as single right now. For some of you, there may be a need here for you to spend some quality time with the person that you're with rather than looking for new situations. Just saying. Just saying. Now, the other ones that you pulled, love is all around you. There's love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. You know, and love is all around you. That could definitely be the case with Aries, you know, people being attracted to you and being attracted to your energy. But the thing is, again, this is going along with those of you who are looking at yourselves as single. And then the last one, the heart of the matter. There is more going on than meets the eye. Recognize what this is all about. Now, I do think for those of you who are single, I think you need to be careful about moving into situations with new people if you are dealing with emotional difficulties. But, you know, and then on the other hand, too, here is if you're looking at yourself as single, it could be because you know, you need to recognize what is going on in the situation, because I do think that there's something not quite right with the 7 of Swords. But getting to the heart of the matter is going to be important here before you start moving into new situations. Aries couples, you have 2. Speak the language of love. Loving words have the power to change someone's life, including your own. And then love makes the difference. Love can help heal past hurts and provide a sense of security, self-worth, and importance. Like, I don't think I even need to say anything there. I do think that for some Aries, you're dealing with difficulties in a relationship. Whatever that emotional pain is, and no matter who it's affecting, but I do think it's affecting both of you. I think that it's important for you to really think about what actions you're taking here before you actually take them. But then again, for those of you who are dealing with some emotional difficulties and you feel drugged down by it, you know, I can understand wanting a better, more exciting experience. I just think that there's going to be some things you're going to need to deal with before you move into these new situations. Okay, Aries, so this is one of those readings where I feel like it's really specific. So I'm going to try to break this down for those of you who are not resonating with this feeling of moving between relationships, because I do think that that has importance for somebody. Now, when I'm looking at this, I think a lot of you are dealing with some emotional difficulties big time. I think that for some of you, you may have suffered a loss. And for a lot of you, you know, it's hard for you to walk away from these emotional feelings, because the King of Cups and then looking at the 5 of Cups is saying that for a lot of you, you may be emotionally out of whack. And I think that for some of you, you do get to a point here where there's a little bit more excitement and a little bit more enthusiasm, but I worry about how well you're going to be able to manage what is happening here if you don't start doing what you need to create a more stable foundation for yourself. Now, for those of you who are suffering from emotional difficulties, this card is definitely saying that there is a need here for you to have a more stable foundation. But I do think that there are people surrounding you that may be there to help you as well. And that may be the case for some of you. For others of you, you just need to look at being a little bit more stable and having a reason to, be happy and celebrate in your life before you start moving into new situations. Looking at the Seven of Swords, I think that some of you aren't really being open about the way that you feel. And I think you may be blocking yourself. And a lot of you aren't truly moving away from, these painful situations in the right way. Because, you're hoping to have a better emotional experience. But, where you come out at is juggling this situation. Now, I do think that this is meant for the Aries that may be emotionally weighed down by a person. I think that, a lot of you are just, you're getting too much water going on and it's putting out the fire. And for some of you, I'm looking at you moving into a new situation here where you may be juggling two different relationships. And it definitely could be romantic. And I think that a lot of you are wanting to have, this new love experience, but I don't think that, the sneakiness is a good thing. Somebody is not being truthful. Somebody is not being honest with this being in your environment and seeing the Five of Cups. And this could definitely be connected with whoever that King of Cups is. And again, these could be male or female. It doesn't matter looking at a general reading, but I do think that a lot of you are moving into a new situation with a new person without first having dealt with the issues that needed to be dealt with before. This one is like, it's so hard to communicate the situation that's going on here. Now, on the other hand, when you look at magic and you look at the third eye, I really do think that the visualization that you're going to be doing is absolutely going to manifest much better things in your life than being emotionally drugged down. The other thing, too, is when you look at expansion, it's people expanding in your life. It very much reminds me of expansion from Chakra Wisdom. A part of your life is expanding, and it may have to do with people leaving, people coming in. But then there's also the point here, too, where your mind and your intuition and your ability to visualize and tap into that creative ability is expanding as well. But I think a lot of you are having difficulty with commitment. That was the very first thing that I got before we even started this. If, some of you are having some emotional difficulties or you're dealing with a person who is weighing you down because of their emotional difficulties, now is the time for you to start speaking the truth. And when you look at what singles pulled, I really do think that a lot of you are looking at your situation as you are single. But maybe you're not, and maybe there's a need here for you to look at, what is happening here. Because spending quality time together is saying that for some of you, if you do this, this may heal what's going on. And then when you're looking at love is all around you, yeah, I do think that that is the case for some of you. And it's because people are just naturally attracted to you and your energy. But that could also suggest that if you are in a relationship, before you end things or before you do something that you may regret, just saying, you might want to rethink it and realize that there is love in the situation that you're in. But then on the other hand, when you look at the heart of the matter, and really getting down to why things are happening the way they are, for some of you, you may just be done with the situation, which is understandable. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, speak the language of love, and love makes a difference. I think that there does need to be some clear communication with emotions right now when it comes to your relationships. And love does make the difference. I think for some of you, before you decide to move into a new situation, Aries needs to be careful about needing to, stick to the commitments that you have set for yourself, especially within relationships, because you may end up in a spot here where you feel like you're juggling two different situations, and they may be two different people.